Hi everybody, and welcome to this live online training webinar where I'm going to be showing you how to get more done in your business but without putting in more hours. Okay, so firstly, let's kick off, and before we really begin getting into the content, I just want to say a few words to you. Now, obviously you're all investing some time to watch this, and I know how busy you all are, hence attending this training. And I want you to get the most from this, so please turn off any distractions that you've got around you at the moment. So, make sure your phone's on silent or switched off, close your emails down. Close anything else down that you've got open on your computer that you may be tempted to flick into. Grab a pen and paper to take some notes, and grab a drink so you're going to be comfortable, and get ready to focus with me for the next 45 minutes or so. And let's have a look at what we are going to cover. Actually, for those of you that are listening live as well to this webinar now, welcome. Thank you for joining me live. I can see some names that I recognise there on the screen. It's great to have you with me. And there is a space on there. You should hopefully see on the right-hand side of your screen, there is a little space where you can put any questions. So as I'm going through this, feel free to pop any questions in there, and I will try my best to remember at the end to go and have a look in there. But for those of you who are watching a recording, or if you prefer to, then you can obviously email any questions to me, and you can send those to alison@alisonbradford.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So let's have a look at what we're going to cover now. So we're going to look at, firstly, the easiest way to prioritize your work to give you a clear focus. Focus is important on what you should be doing and what you need to stop doing, also very important. Secondly, we're going to be looking at how to get you over your DIY-itis and finally feel confident about delegating and outsourcing. We're going to look at the one little thing that you need to be doing every day to keep the balance of working on your business versus working in it. And I'm going to show you exactly where that elusive 25th hour is and how you can get your hands on it. So yes, I'm sure you're all looking forward to that. We'd all like a 25th hour. And then finally, we're going to look at what is the missing part of the puzzle for most people. Without this in place, this might be why traditional time management techniques haven't worked for you before, or why you'll always feel like you're time poor. Okay, so let's have a look, and let's firstly, do you ever feel a bit like this in your business? Okay, so you feel like you're putting out fires every day, and you just feel like you're reacting to anyone and everything that comes on your plate. Yeah. Okay, so what if there was a different way? What if there was an easier way to run your business? One that looked a little bit more like this. Well, my screen just flickers. There we go. A bit more like a chess player. Yeah, a place where you're running your business and you are thinking and behaving in a more strategic way. Like in a game of chess where every move is taking you nearer to your end objective. One where you've got your head up versus your head down, and you can see that bigger picture without getting caught up in all of that unimportant stuff that's always there ready to distract you. One where you're working on your business as opposed to working in it, and one where you've got a clear focus on exactly what you should be doing. So the gap between this firefighter and this chess player way of running your business, this is the gap that I work with my clients to fill. And that's what I want to do with you guys here right now on this live webinar training. I want to start closing this gap for you and to help you feel back in control, and to importantly help you feel like you're getting more done and making more effective use of your time. So let me introduce myself to you before I crack on with all that great content. So a brief summary of my story. So after 14 years or so on the corporate circuit, working in some big organisations in senior roles such as Vodafone and Swinton Insurance, I had a bit of a moment about 4 years ago, or just over 4 years ago now, where I was pregnant with my second daughter. I was on that commute, the long drive back from Manchester to where I live in Staffordshire. It used to take me about an hour and a half every evening. And this one night, the rain was pounding down, as it often does in Manchester, and I was in my usual rush to get home before my then 3-year-old actually went to bed. And I just had a moment. Firstly, I thought, God, how dangerous is this? I'm sat here on the outside lane. The rain's pounding down. I could barely see the car in front of me. My wipers are working 10 to the dozen. And we're all just in this eager rush to get home. And then I thought to myself, do you know what? There's got to be a better way than this. I realised that I didn't want to be spending 3 hours of my day sitting in traffic, driving dangerously on the motorways up and down to Manchester, and miss my children growing up. So long story short, when I was on my maternity leave with my second daughter, I actually decided to take responsibility for my destiny, and I set up my own business, and that's what I do now. I work with other business owners who want to achieve success, but without it compromising on the rest of their life. And so typically the clients that I'm working with do have too much to do and too little time. And they are investing lots of time and not necessarily happy with the return in terms of profit that they're seeing on that time investment. So I help them to figure out how they can still grow their profit, but without putting in more and more time. So that's a little bit about me and what's led me here today to be sharing this on this webinar with you guys now. So let's start off. Let's look at step one, and step one is about how to prioritize, okay? And this is where it all starts. You need to know how to prioritize effectively. And to do that, it's quite simply about being able to distinguish between what's urgent and what's important, okay? So let's have a little look at what that means. So the urgent stuff, this is when you're in that firefighter mode, yeah? So it's all the reactive stuff. You're reacting to other people's priorities, and it's very often it's about short term. So examples of urgent stuff that you're probably doing now is things like emails, dealing with emails that are coming in, spam emails, junk emails, phone calls, answering the phone whenever it rings, customer demands, you know, so customers suddenly, I need something and I need something now. You have to react to that. And just dealing with questions from maybe other business owners that you know, colleagues that you know, answering questions. So you're reacting in the main to other people's priorities. Versus the important, okay? So this is the distinction to make here. So what is the important stuff? These are the things that contribute to your long-term goals, but no one's necessarily shouting at you to do it right now. So this is often the stuff that we end up neglecting. So this is, though, when you're in that chess player mode, so you're in that more strategic mode, yeah? You're working on your business. You're doing things like your marketing. You might be working on your strategy. You're doing some planning. You're planning out your next 3 to 6 months. And you're spending time learning and developing and growing yourself as a business owner. So these are the important things that contribute to your long-term goals. And very often what happens is we prioritize the urgent over the important, and the important stuff takes a back seat and we end up neglecting it. And that's when we stay in firefighter mode. So if you want to move into that chess player mode, which I'm assuming you do, then we need to start prioritizing things differently and looking at the important, not the urgent. Another feature of the important stuff, and this is what I talk to my clients about a lot, is the money, okay? The important things are often about money generating activities. So what are you doing right now? What do you plan to do next week that's all about bringing money into your business? So when you're dealing with mail, emails, when you're answering phone calls as they come in, that's not necessarily bringing money into your business, and you're neglecting to spend the time on money generating activities. That's what you need to start prioritizing. Now, if you need some help on how to distinguish this, there's a really easy tool, quick and easy tool that you can use. And here it is. It's called the Eisenhower box, named after President Eisenhower. And it's a nice, simple, quick and easy 2x2 matrix. Okay, so you can simply draw this out. You can do this quickly now if you want to. And you're going to plot all of your, so you can take your current tasks, your current to-do list, and place all of those things in this matrix. So you can see on the screen you have got a horizontal matrix which is about the urgency of it. So anything that's highly urgent, goes over the right. Anything that's not urgent goes over on the left. Your vertical matrix is then about the importance. So remember, we know the distinction now between urgent and important. So the important stuff, what is the more long-term, goes at the top. The less important stuff goes towards the bottom. Okay? So you can do this straight after, you can start to do it now, and just start to plot some things on there and think about where your time is being spent right now. Are you spending lots of it on the urgent? How can you move it to spend more on the important? So you can see on here, anything that is highly important and urgent, it has a deadline, because you can get the two. It might be bringing money in and long-term goals, and there is a deadline. Maybe there's a marketing, maybe an advertisement that you need to get in a magazine to grow your business, and there's a deadline of tomorrow to get it done. So that would go in the top right-hand box. It's a do it now. Then in the bottom right-hand box, you'll have stuff that's urgent but not really important. So it needs doing, there's a deadline, but it's not contributing to those long-term goals. That's the stuff to think about delegating. So getting somebody else to do it, and that may be someone you employ, it may not be. It may be something that you outsource to somebody else to do. Then in the bottom left box, we've got the stuff that, you know, it's not important and it's not urgent. So why the heck are you doing it? That needs to be eliminated. And without looking at your to-do lists, I'm pretty confident there might be some stuff on there that is going to go in that box. And then finally, top left, we've got the stuff that is important, but there's no real urgency to it, there's no deadline to it, and that is the stuff that you need to be scheduling in. And that top left box is probably where you're spending less of your time right now. And that is the balance that needs to change. We need to spend more time on the stuff that's important, as in it's taking you to your long-term objectives, but there's no sense of urgency around it. There's no deadline. That's the working on your business. So use that tool, use that 2x2 matrix to start tracking what you're doing and where you're spending your time, and see how you can start delegating, eliminating and scheduling more stuff in. Another quick tip for you to help you prioritize your work each day and each week is just to think to yourself, you know, is what I'm doing today moving me nearer my goals? You may just want to write that down quickly. I'll say it again. Is what I'm doing today moving me nearer my goals? And then look to use that question each day and each week as a quick kind of checkpoint to say, am I doing the right stuff here, or am I firefighting? Okay, so that's some tips on how to prioritize, and I'll give you a little quick tool there that's going to make that easier for you as well going forward. So let's move on to part 2. And part 2 is about getting over your DIY-itis. And no, DIY-itis, it's not a nasty skin condition. It sounds like one. It's that condition closely associated with those control freaks who are running their own business. Might sound familiar. Where you are trying to do everything yourself. So doing everything yourself, that's okay right at the beginning when you're starting out in business, because you have the time, right? When you're starting out, you may not have the client work to do, you've got a bit of time to fill out and you want to be busy, so you're doing everything yourself. But if you're not careful, you stay in that mentality, and after a little while it becomes a really bad habit where you're still trying to do everything yourself. And I can assure you of one thing: this is holding you back. Okay? This will be holding you back in your business if you're trying to do everything yourself. So how do you get over this debilitating condition in your business? Let's have a little look. So the first obvious thing is to go back to the work we've just done. We just put all your to-do list into that Eisenhower matrix and look at what's in that delegate box. Yeah? So anything in there where it's got urgent, it's got a deadline, but it's not important, it's not taking you towards your long-term objectives, that's the stuff to delegate. So think of things like answering calls. So there's quite an obvious one. So answering calls, your phone's ringing, it's urgent, there's someone there, I'll pick up the phone and answer it and deal with it. And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes it might be oh, we've noticed you've been in an accident recently, or would you like to put in a PPI claim, or we can take you to page 1 on Google. And before you know it, you spent 5 minutes on the phone to someone you didn't need to be speaking to, and you've lost the flow of what you were doing. Okay, so that's an idea of something to delegate that should be in your delegate box from that Eisenhower matrix we've just done. And if you didn't put anything in that delegate box yet, I suggest you go back and look to do it again, because I'm sure there's stuff in there that needs to go in there. And if you're not sure, then email over to me and I'll happily work through that with you and figure it out. So next step to getting over your DIY-itis is begin with the lower cost. So let's start safe, okay? So you might be feeling a bit, oh my God, I don't want to delegate anything. Nobody else will be able to do it as good as me. It won't be done correctly. I'm going to have to pay for it. So what I'd say to you is, if you're not doing anything at the moment, then let's start safe, okay? And let's start with the low risk and the low cost stuff. So for example, and I'll put on the slide here, what I'd be suggesting is something like using Fiverr.com. And if you've not come across that yet, it's a great little website where you can get anything and everything pretty much done for $5. And I've used it myself for different things like graphics. You can get, you know, graphics can be great, social media graphics. If you need a graphic done for something, then ebook covers, something like that, then Fiverr.com is brilliant. However, be warned, you can get drawn in because there's all kinds of wacky things on there. So set a time limit for how long you're on there. And a little tip, if you want to use Fiverr to outsource some stuff, because it's only $5, it's worth getting 3 different things done. So if I was getting a graphic designed, I'd get 3 different versions on Fiverr, spend $15, and still hopefully out of 3, I've got one that's great. Other low risk ways for you to start outsourcing: admin. You know, where are you spending time doing admin in your business that's not necessarily, it's not going to be bringing any money into your business. It's not taking you towards your long-term objectives, but it just needs doing. So where can you outsource some admin? Because again, that's a relatively low cost support that you can go and find quite easily. Ask around for a virtual assistant. And call answering, I mentioned before that call answering is a great one to start off with. Again, there's some really brilliant services out there now, and I'm happy to recommend. Send me an email if you want a recommendation on any of these for admin support or call answering as well. And it's so low cost, and you won't believe the amount of time it just saves you from not having to deal with your phone calls and to just screen out all the junk phone calls as well. So start there is my suggestion. The next thing to think about is, where do you need specialists in your business? What are the expert skills that you're looking for? So this is about a skill set, this is about a capability. So there may be things, and there probably are things that you're trying to do in your business that you're really not qualified to do, or actually you're really not very good at doing. So this might be something like bookkeeping. So maybe you need to look to get a bookkeeper sorted. It may be things like, I mentioned design earlier. Certainly for me, I'm hopeless at graphic design, and that's one of the first things I always get somebody else to do who knows what they're doing, because I know if I do it, it looks pretty amateurish. Another area, techie support, you know, so maybe you need some technical support, and it might well be something you can do, but it might take you 5 times longer than going to a specialist to do it. And in that time, you can be focusing on your important stuff and working on your business instead of the stuff that you are just not very good at. So where do you need specialists in your business? And go and find them. Okay, and then, so when you've identified the different areas and the different things where you want some help and support and that you want to delegate, then look to communicate clearly what it is you're expecting. So it can be easy to make the decision, say, oh yeah, delegate, here we go and design me something. You need to make sure you're clearly communicating exactly what you expect from that person you're delegating to. Set out a brief, yeah? Be professional over this. Set out a clear brief of what it is you're expecting and schedule in regular reviews. So this can help with the control freak kind of, oh, no one else is going to do it as well as I can, no one else can do it up to my standards. think about when it is that, what are the checkpoints that you need to review that work at and do it, so you don't end up, for example, you're getting someone to build a website. You do not want to wait until that website's ready to go live until you review it. You need to be having regular checkpoints to review and feedback throughout. So communicate clearly what you expect and set regular reviews. And then just do it. Get over any fear you've got about it and just do it. Okay? So that is how to get over your DIY-itis. Let's move on to part 3. Part 3 is where I'm going to be sharing with you the one thing that you need to be doing every day in your business. And this is about how to get the balance of working on versus working in a really easy way. And this is my secret ingredient that I'm always going on about with all of my clients. And it's about power hours, okay? So let me tell you what a power hour is. Power hour is where when we did the Eisenhower matrix, the stuff that's the schedule in, the important, not urgent, this is where your power hours come into their own. And honestly, trust me, if you do nothing else following this training webinar, apart from power hours, it will make a huge difference. Okay, and a power hour is simply about setting aside an hour each day to work on the important things. And some people say, oh God, that's an hour. I don't even have an hour right now. I'm too busy to do that. And they end up leaving it and not doing it. So what I would say to you, if you're thinking that right now, if you can't manage an hour a day, then do what you can and build up to it. So right now, if you can only spend 15 minutes a day, and let's be honest here, who can't find 15 minutes a day? So if you could just spend 15 minutes a day for 5 days, that's an hour and 15 minutes over the week that you've spent working on the important stuff. And actually, you can achieve quite a lot in an hour and 15 minutes of focused time. And if you're starting off small and building up to it, please aim to build up to that hour though, and I think once you start doing the 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is you can do, you will soon realize the value you're getting from it. So build up to that hour each day. And it's quite funny because I am always banging on about this with my clients. And I had a note from one of them just the other day saying, Alison, these power hours really do work. I'm like, yes, that's why I keep going on about them. So do the power hours. Set aside time each day to work on the important stuff. And preferably that's an hour. Now, another tip with doing this, and this has come from seeing lots and lots of people trying to fit these in and seeing what works and what doesn't. A tip is to do your power hour at the start of your working day, whenever that is for you, but do it at the start of your working day. Do it first, yeah? I always kind of use the analogy of the gym. I think, if you think, oh, I'll join the gym, I'll go after work, go 2-3 times a week, and what happens at the end of your working day? You're just too knackered to go. You can't be bothered. It's been a busy day. There's other stuff that's happened, more fires to put out, and you can't be bothered to go to the gym. Whereas when you do it right at the start of the day, it's done and dusted. You can feel great and all smug then because you've done it. It's done, and you don't need to worry about it. And it's kind of the same things with working on your business. So do it first, get it done. Because if you try and leave it thinking, I'll do it at the end of the day when I've done everything else, all the urgent stuff first, then the important, probably won't happen. I'll be honest with you, it really probably won't happen because there's always going to be another fire to put out that will come up. And to be honest, at the end of the day, your energy is going to be dipping. And you will keep deprioritizing your business over your client work. So prioritize your business, do it first, get it done, then it's done. You can move on and deal with the other stuff then. So power hours, they're the one thing that I want you to do every day. And if you can't do a full hour right now, then start where you are and start doing something. Okay. All right, I'm just going to have a quick check if there's any questions coming from you guys that are here. And no, I can't see anything so far, so good. Hopefully everything's clear so far. Let's carry on and move on to number 4. So here's the secret you've been waiting for me to share, isn't it? Want a 25th hour? So here it is. You can buy somebody else's. So if you don't have enough time, then you simply need to go and buy somebody else's because, you know, actually that is the secret. You can't make your days any longer. You've got the same hours as everybody else on this planet. We have 24 hours a day, but you can get a 25th hour, but it won't be yours. You'll have to buy somebody else's. And you can buy just about anything right now as well. There's some great different things online. I mentioned already on Fiverr.com is a great little site for that. There's people per hour. You can buy people's time to do just about anything. Now, one thing I want you to think about as well here, because we've talked about delegating in your business and how to do that, but the other thing that I really want you to think about if you don't have enough time is other areas of your life that are taking up time. And these are things that maybe are a bit of a chore to do. You don't really enjoy it. It's not a hobby, but it has to get done. So for me, these are things like cleaning, ironing, gardening, even childcare sometimes. So, and it might be someone to run errands for, if you need to go backwards and forwards to the post office, those things that feel like, chores, and it's not something you're doing for a hobby, but they just have to get done. Well, you can go and pay somebody else to do those things. And if you're not doing that, that's another great area to start with your delegation and outsourcing. To grow your business and to start feeling more in that chess player space, and less the firefighter, more in the proactive, strategic chess player, you've got to get comfortable paying other people to do stuff for you if you don't have enough time, And if you're not, then stop complaining that you don't have enough. Because, I can show you and I can share, there's things in here, there's more things that I can share with you around how to streamline that. But if you've got 30 hours work and you need to get it done in 4 hours, we can do lots to squeeze that down. But ultimately, you've still only got 4 hours to do it in, and we're probably not going to get it down that far. So that's where you need to stop buying other people's time. Ask for help and be prepared to pay for it. A tip here is always think in terms of the opportunity cost. So when you're spending time doing these kind of mundane type tasks, yes, you can do them. You're probably skilled to do it, fine. But you're losing out on spending that time making money in your business. So how much could you be generating? How much money could you be bringing into your business instead of doing some of those mundane tasks that you end up spending time on every week? Think about that and think about where you need to buy somebody else's time to help you. Okay, so let's move on to part 5, and this is the missing part of the puzzle for many of you. And this may be why you maybe know all of this theory, maybe you've done different courses, you've read all the books, but somehow it's still just not working and you're still feeling, God, I just don't have enough time every day. And it's about your mindset quite often as well. And your mindset, I really believe it's the most powerful tool when it comes to running your business. What's going on in your brain, in your mind, what you're talking to yourself about. So do not underestimate the power of your mindset in determining your success and getting more stuff done. Now I'm a coach, I'm a business coach, I work with business owners, but in my coach training, I'm trained to coach all different types of challenges, and one of the areas we're trying to do is to listen very carefully to the language that people use, because the words that we're using have a big effect on what we believe in our mindset. So let me give you an example. If you're waking up every morning and you wake up thinking, oh God, I've got so much to do today, lying there in bed, oh God, I just want to stay in bed. I don't want to face this. I don't know where to start. I'm never going to get everything done. How on earth am I ever going to get over this mess? Then it puts you in a pretty stressed state, right? Yeah? So when you're saying those things to yourself, you start to believe it. So you're starting off your day thinking, I'm never going to get everything done. Well, the truth is, no, you won't, because that's what you're telling yourself. And you'll believe it, and you'll end up feeling pretty crap about it. And it just becomes a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy then every day. So you may think I'm a bit crazy now for what I'm about to say to you, but just humour me here and try this over the next week. So instead of thinking, oh God, I haven't got enough time, I haven't got enough time, and when people are saying to you, how are you going? I'm really busy, start changing your language. Start changing your language, yeah? So start saying to yourself, do you know, I have all the time I need today. What is my priority to start on? And start telling yourself, instead of that you don't have enough time, start telling yourself that you have all the time you need. Because you really do. Okay, I'm really not crazy. You do have all the time you need. It's all about the choices that you're making on what you're spending your time on. So you need to work through all the things that we've just covered in this training webinar now and start putting them into action. And start making choices that free up your time so you start to become that chess player, more strategic type business owner. And every time you catch yourself saying, I don't have enough time, change it around to go, I have all the time I need, where shall I start? Another good tip as well here is the rule of three, which is simply about, because when we're trying to focus on lots of things, and if you've got a big to-do list, oh, you look at it, it's horrible, isn't it? It's just a horrible feeling because you look at it and straight away feel overwhelmed. I don't know where to start, and actually I might just start rewriting it all out and making it look nicer. No, just pick three things. Three things is what our human brains can deal with at any one time. So instead of looking at your big to-do list, just pick three things, the three most important things to do right now, and just focus on getting them done. When you've done them, pick another three, but never try to focus on more than three things. So I pick three things every week that I want to achieve, and then each day I think about what are my top three things that I want to work on today that are moving me nearer my goals. So that is about your mindset. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to watch your language. Start telling yourself that you have all the time you need, because you do. I believe it, and I want you to believe it as well. And start thinking about your rule of three and how you can apply that in your business. So there we go. They are the 5 steps that I promised to share with you at the start of this about how you can get more done in your business without putting in more and more time. However, it's easy for me to sit here and share that with you. I know you've all given up your time, so thank you for that, to watch this. But what I really want you to do now, this is the most important part because it is over to you. And I love this phrase here, which is insight without action is worthless. So you've got the insight now. What the next step is to take the action, because there's no point in watching this. You've wasted your time watching this if you're not going to do anything or take any action now. So what I'd like you to do is email me, alison@alisonbradford.com, and tell me what you are committing to do. Okay? And if you want more help as well, what I'm going to offer to you is a thank you for watching the training webinar and for committing to taking some action. You can book in a complimentary 30-minute strategy session with me where I will help you plan out your next 30 days or so to get more done. You can go directly on my online calendar and do that at www.meetme.so/Alison Bradford, or you can simply email me, and because I do have limited time slots available for those each month, so email me and I will let you know what I have available. So thank you very much for joining me for this webinar and watching it, and please over to you and let me know what action you are going to take. Thank you.